The fluorescent hum of the gas station echoed Sharon Crawford's daily routine. At 47, she was an attractive woman who always prioritized others over herself. As a bookkeeper at the town's only H&R Block, her focus was crisis management, helping small businesses and individuals recover after IRS audits. To do her job well, she was methodical, precise, and a stickler for every penny. So, the cracked gift card in her hand annoyed her to no end. It was her husband Andre's half-hearted anniversary gift months ago, a $50 gas station card, clearly regifted. It represented everything Andre had become since his career shift to real estate: shallow, cheap, replaceable. Sharon had only used the card out of principle. Never look a gift horse in the mouth, her elders used to say. But no matter how much she tried, the balance never quite hit zero. After filling her tank today, there was still $2 left. Enough, Sharon decided. Time to be rid of this card. She scanned the counter for something cheap, a candy bar maybe, but at $1.99, the tax would add too much to the total. A coffee? At 79 cents, buying two would still leave a balance. No, the card had to hit zero. Then her eyes landed on the Powerball sign. One ticket, exactly $2, tax-free. A quick pick, please, Sharon muttered, irritated it had come to this. She didn't believe in the lottery. It was a scam to exploit poor people with impossible odds. To Sharon, luck was a myth. Hard work was real. She'd been working since she was 13, helping her single mother. And she'd kept working even through her marriage to Andre Crawford, the man who'd knocked her up and married her at 17. She'd loved Andre at first, but it didn't take long for the marriage to become about responsibility. Sharon had kids, and kids needed to eat, so she worked herself ragged while taking accounting courses at the local college. When she landed a job at H&R Block, she finally quit her double shifts as a waitress. It was Sharon's hard work, saving every tip, that got them the down payment on their house. And for 20 years, it was Sharon alone who paid the mortgage until it was paid off. Sharon worked to put food on the table, cover medical bills, and fund Andre's dream of being a rap star. A 25-year saga of studio sessions, demo CDs, and trips to open mics. Sharon was all in because she believed in Andre's talent, but he lacked one thing: work ethic. He expected success to fall into his lap, never willing to chase it. Talent brought him opportunities, but he sabotaged everyone. Ego trips, tantrums, refusing to play small gigs or network. He had no sense for business, so when a con man came along, he handed over Sharon's money without a second thought. But when a legit music exec told him to work for it, Andre scoffed and burned the bridge. It took Andre 25 years to face the truth, and when he did, he blamed Sharon. Blamed her for the kids, the stability, the life that clipped his wings. She should have made him grow up. So when he came crawling back, he was cruel. Told her she'd gotten old, fat, and was too dark-skinned than he remembered. He said the kids were only smart because of his DNA. They'd be geniuses if he'd married better. He ranted. He raved. Then he got into real estate. He was a natural, flashy, magnetic, born for it, but unlicensed. So he went to Sharon. She paid for the classes, the exam, everything, because her loyalty never broke, and Andre thrived with resentment, as if her support had been sabotage, as if she'd stolen years from him. She should have told him to give up. Come home. But she didn't, and now he was behind, and it was all her fault. Too soft, too loyal, too damn black. 0.5. As Sharon stepped out to pump gas, she felt no regret. Andre had talent, but he chased fame, not the grind. He wanted worship, but Sharon had one God, the one who got her and the kids through while Andre played superstar. That was the real MVP, and that's how she learned to tune him out. Distance was hard in a town where his face was everywhere. Even now, his grin stared at her from a bus stop across the street. She looked away, but it wasn't Andre who hurt her most. It was the kids. Once he returned, Kenya and James shifted. He sold them dreams, blamed Sharon for their limits, and they believed him. They came back from Spelman and Morehouse bitter, dazzled by Atlanta's black elite, wealthy, connected, exclusive. They didn't fit, so they blamed her. "You should have been born on third base," Andre said. But your mama had you behind the plate. Sharon didn't flinch. College is the bat, she told them. Keep swinging. But they didn't hear her. They resented her steadiness. Now they barely spoke. The final break came at last year's Juneteenth reunion. Kenya yelled, "Mom, can't you just improve?" The laughter that followed told Sharon everything. She pulled back, kept in touch with the grandkids, but not Kenya, didn't miss it. James was worse. "Black women are too overweight to take out in public," he said once. His Instagram became a gallery of non-black models. Sharon unfollowed. Only her daughters-in-law kept her tied to family and to joy. That and dogs. She'd always loved them. Volunteered at shelters when Andre said no to pets. Too messy, too much work. But today, at the pump, a golden retriever in a car caught her eye, smiling. The owner appeared, stunned. "He hasn't smiled in weeks. What did you say?" "Nothing," Sharon said. "I just looked at him." "He's on chemo," the owner whispered. "I thought he'd forgotten how, bless you." As they drove off, the dog watched her until the car turned the corner. Sharon smiled, her heart full. Dogs, man, they could fix anything. She glanced at the nearly empty pump, pulled out Andre's old gift card, and tossed it in the trash without a second thought. As soon as Sharon got home, she kicked off her shoes and bra and sank into the silence. It was heavenly. While she still played the dutiful wife in public, Andre rarely came home anymore, and Sharon had quietly slipped into a bachelorette life. Her instincts told her he was cheating again, but she didn't care. Their intimacy had died years ago. Truth be told, she'd never been that attracted to Andre, or anyone really. She used to think something was wrong with her, until a Gen Z coworker casually diagnosed her indifference toward a hot colleague. "Oh, you're demisexual," the girl said. "You need an emotional bond to feel anything. I see that guy and I'm sweating. You're like, yeah, but what's his stance on human rights?" They laughed hard, especially when the girl added, "That explains the way you are with dogs. Instant spiritual connection. They feel everything and love you for it." Sharon hadn't looked into the label, but it made sense. She embraced her solitude like a ritual, TV blasting, dinner on the couch, and hours scrolling dog adoption sites. She wanted to rescue them all, the old, the sick, the forgotten. Tonight, she once again fixated on a sweet senior at the pound, slowly going blind. She'd nicknamed him Midas, and her heart cracked wide open every time she saw him. She almost grabbed her keys, but Andre's unpredictable comings and goings made things tricky. She wasn't ready for a fight over a dog. Not yet. Not until she could retire. The next morning, she stepped out of the shower and found Andre in the kitchen, still in yesterday's suit, going through her phone. "What are you doing?" she asked. "You're still obsessed with those stupid dog sites," he snapped, tossing the phone on the counter. "And you're still staying out all night," she said, pouring coffee. "Don't touch my phone again." Andre sneered. "We're on the same plan. I was checking minutes, not like you use any. You've got no friends and you never go anywhere." Sharon blinked. "Wow, you came all the way home just to insult me? So on brand." He didn't respond. Instead, he rifled through the mail and pulled out a postcard. "Juneteenth reunion. Wear that green dress if it still fits. Try to look female. We're hiring a photographer." "I'm not going," Sharon said, barely looking up. Andre froze. "What do you mean you're not going? Everyone's expecting you." "Expecting me for what? I'm not the main attraction. I've had appointments every weekend for months. DMV, groceries, doctor, the church fundraisers. I want a weekend just for me." Andre's voice exploded. "Why are you always like this, always in one of your moods?" Sharon stared at him. "You disappear for days and I'm the one with an attitude?" "Don't start," he yelled. "I bust my ass for this family. I pay for the house, the food, the kids. You could quit your job tomorrow and you can't even show up for one damn reunion?" Sharon blinked slowly. It was all lies. His real estate success was recent, and even now he barely contributed. For 25 years, she'd paid the bills, raised the kids, and held the family together while he chased music and other women, but she didn't want to fight. "Fine," she said quietly, like she was talking to a spoiled child. "I'll go." Andre nodded and walked away like he'd won something. Sharon sat down, stunned. What the hell just happened? Later that day, Sharon was at her desk, knee-deep in a client's tax mess, when she overheard two co-workers chatting. No way! The Main Street gas station? Yep. 3 states played the Powerball, and the winning ticket was bought just 15 minutes from here. Has anyone claimed it yet? Not yet. Probably still in shock. Sharon barely registered the conversation. She went about her routine, went home, ate dinner, stared at Midas's rescue page for an hour, then fell asleep in front of a sitcom. Hours later, she woke to the late news flashing the winning Powerball numbers. Groggy, she sipped lukewarm chamomile and casually pulled the ticket from her purse. She scanned the numbers. One matched, then another, then all of them. At first, she thought it was a mistake. Maybe it was a scratch-off. She searched for a place to scrape, even dug out a dime, but there was nothing to scratch, just numbers, all the numbers. Her heart started pounding. She grabbed her tablet. Jackpot. $968 million. She didn't scream, she wept. Not with joy exactly. Something deeper, a release. The fear of eviction, of empty bank accounts, of dying before retirement. Gone in an instant. It felt like resurrection. Dizzy, she crawled into bed, clutching the ticket under her pillow like a secret prayer. Don't tell a soul, she whispered to herself, especially not Andre. Not until she figured out what came next. The next morning, Sharon called in sick for the first time in 11 years. She spent hours researching Powerball laws, tax implications, lump sum versus annual payouts, and how other winners handled sudden wealth. Living in a no-income tax state helped. After federal taxes, she'd still walk away with $600 to $700 million. By 10 a.m., she felt ready and headed to her local bank. The little brass bell jingled as she entered Pinewood Bank. It was exactly as she remembered, dusty, quiet, and unchanged since opening her grandkids' college accounts a decade ago. She made her way past the board teller to the manager's office. Inside was Irene Maddox, a longtime church friend. Irene looked up from her desk and broke into a wide grin. Well, praise be, God is good, she said, pulling Sharon in for a hug. She shut the door, lowered the blinds, and leaned in, eyes sparkling. I've been waiting to see who'd walk through that door. Thank God it's you. Sharon blinked. Wait, how do you... Come on, you haven't been in this bank in years. Irene laughed. Yesterday, $900 million gets popped in a gas station in this fingerprint town, and today you walk in. Now, a fool would have been on the news immediately, shouting from the rooftops, and by now, talking up a storm and causing all kinds of problems for themselves. But you're no fool, Sharon. You did the right thing, came straight to me. I'm so happy for you, girl. Relief flooded Sharon. Oh, Irene, I'm still in shock. I haven't told a soul. Don't, Irene said, serious now. You've been through enough. Don't tell any of these parasites a thing, especially Andre. You deserve every dime. Sharon leaned in. So what do I do? Irene reached into a drawer and pulled out a sleek black folder full of documents. She immediately pulled out the business cards it contained. I prepped this yesterday. We're too small a branch for that kind of money, and men outnumber women 2 to 1 in this town, so I prepared these male referrals. Most men prefer dealing with male money managers. It's sad but true. Since it's you, Sharon, we're going to bypass everything and go nuclear. She slid 2 business cards into the folder from her personal wallet. Simone Walker, private equity banker, discreet and brilliant. She'll protect your money. And Vernita Ashford, the top divorce attorney in the state. We're sorority sisters from Howard, and she owes me a favor. When Andre starts making threats, and he will, Vernita is who you want. Sharon took the folder with trembling hands. For the first time, she didn't feel alone. Why would Andre make threats? Sharon asked, confused. Because of the divorce, silly, Irene said. The second he finds out you won, he'll try to call it off. Don't let him. You owe him nothing. Wait, Andre's divorcing me? Irene froze. Oh, Sharon, I'm so sorry. My husband's the county clerk. Andre filed 3 weeks ago. No lawyer, just filled out the forms himself. I thought you already knew. I assume that's why you were here, to protect your winnings. Sharon's blood ran cold. Do the kids know? Irene's face hardened. They do. Kenya and James came in with him. He moved everything out of your joint accounts, and they each transferred the grandkids' college funds, just under their own names. Not even their spouses are listed. Sharon did the math. Around $80,000, more than her IRA. She remembered how that morning she'd planned to split the lottery 4 ways, herself, Andre, and the kids, over $100 million each. But that plan died now. Christian Sharon faded and revenge Sharon took the wheel. She placed a hand on the wealth packet and met Irene's eyes. You've been a true friend. I'll make this up to you. You want to make it up to me? Fix the church roof, Irene said with a laugh. I'm tired of fundraisers. I want weekends to sleep in, make love, eat, and do it all over again, with no leaks over the altar. Sharon burst out laughing. It felt good. Consider it done. They hugged like sisters, Irene whispering through tears. You deserve this blessing. Don't let anyone take it. Still shaken but resolute, Sharon gripped the packet and walked out into her new life. The 2-hour drive across the state felt worth it. Both of Irene's contacts agreed to meet that same day. Sharon's first stop was Simone Walker, the financial advisor. Her offices were tucked behind gated security in a sleek, silent business complex. For a moment, Sharon felt like she didn't belong, until she remembered the lottery ticket in her purse. Walker and Grove Private Wealth Council operated out of a fortress. Dark glass, no signs, just a gold plaque. Inside, everything was minimalist, cold, and quiet. A woman in a sharp navy suit approached. Miss Crawford, I'm Simone Walker. Come in. Simone's office was hushed and warm, thanks to abstract art and a flickering fireplace. She poured chamomile tea for Sharon, jasmine for herself. Irene says you've come into money, Simone began, which makes you vulnerable. Sharon gave a dry laugh. That's one way to put it. You need structure and protection before the money hits. Trusts, entities, possibly offshore, all legal, secure, fireproof. Sharon blinked. That sounds intense. It's standard for people like you, Simone replied, sliding over a tablet with a sample portfolio. You're an accountant. You'll understand the layers. You'll have full control, no personal trace. Sharon frowned. These look like the setups tax evaders use. I've seen the disasters at work. Because they wing it, Simone said. This is different. This is nearly $1 billion managed the right way. Sharon sighed. I just want to protect my grandkids and maybe go a little wild shopping. How many grandkids? 5. But I'm not close with their parents. My husband, he'd try to take their share in the divorce. We can stop that, Simone said. We'll build a family trust with you as trustee. Your grandkids will be contingent beneficiaries. No access now, but future disbursements for college, homes, or medical needs. If anything happens to you, our bank steps in. No one else can touch it. I haven't claimed the money yet, Sharon said. Only Irene knows I won. Perfect. That gives us leverage. We'll set up the trust first and direct the funds there. It reduces taxes and shields the money from being counted as a marital asset. What if Andre sues me for hiding it? He'd have to prove you knew before setting this up, Simone said. And since Irene's an attorney, you're covered by privilege. Same with me. Stay quiet. Let us handle this. He won't touch a dime. The divorce attorney's office was a 20-minute drive from Simone's and located on the top floor of a historic building. Sharon felt the weight of power the moment she stepped through the glass doors etched with silver letters. Vernita Ashford, Esquire, Family Law and High Asset Protection. The waiting room was sleek and minimalist. Black leather chairs, a single orchid, and a receptionist who greeted Sharon like she belonged. It was a sensation Sharon quickly grew fond of. When Vernita emerged, sharp and elegant in a slate gray pantsuit, she shook Sharon's hand with cool precision, her nails the color of dried blood. Sharon Crawford, I'm glad you came in, Vernita said smoothly. She led Sharon to her office, a space of glass and dark wood with a view of the river. At the round conference table, two items sat: a leather-bound notepad marked Sharon Crawford and a box of tissues. "I understand you've recently come into a considerable fortune," Vernita began, opening the notepad and retrieving a gold pen. Sharon nodded. "Yes, I won the Powerball. I haven't claimed it yet." "And you're considering divorce because of it?" Vernita asked. "I'm not," Sharon replied. "My husband is. I don't know if he's filed yet, but I'm told he has papers drawn up." "So you haven't been served?" Vernita asked. "Not yet," Sharon said, feeling lost. "I don't know what any of this means." Vernita asked for Sharon's social security number, then sent a note to her assistant. "Tell me about your marriage. Did he cheat?" "All the time," Sharon said. "I couldn't prove it, but I knew." "Most wives know," Vernita said. "They confront it, while husbands live in denial." Sharon hesitated. "I didn't confront it. Maybe I should have." "You had kids and paid the bills?" Vernita asked. "Correct," Sharon replied, uneasy. "Look, the divorce isn't really my concern. It hurts, but my main worry is that my grandkids don't get cheated out of the lottery money. I want them to inherit it, not their parents or grandfather." Vernita nodded, taking notes. Her phone buzzed and she smiled. "Thank you," she said, hanging up. Then, with a direct look, she asked, "Has Mr. Crawford insisted you attend any public events recently?" Sharon frowned. "The family reunion, this Saturday. He's been pushing hard for me to go." Vernita's smile sharpened. "I have excellent news. Mr. Crawford filed for divorce 3 weeks ago, right after he emptied your joint account." "My God," Sharon whispered, the betrayal sinking in. "He stole our money and planned to leave?" "In his filing, Mr. Crawford requested separation of future assets," Vernita explained. "He did this 3 weeks before you won the Powerball. Since he's already petitioned, the separation is in effect. Your money is yours. He can't claim any of it unless he withdraws the petition. If you sign the divorce papers first, the money is yours, free and clear." "But it's been 3 weeks and he hasn't served me yet," Sharon said, confused. "He will at the family reunion," Vernita said, her voice firm. "I guarantee it." Sharon's face twisted in shock. "He's planning to humiliate me in front of everyone? But why? I've never hurt Andre." Her devastation was palpable. Vernita studied her closely. "It's emotional terrorism, Mrs. Crawford," Vernita said. "A tactic used when the other spouse is practical and emotionally balanced. Your calmness would slow him down, so he's trying to enrage you enough to force the divorce through without understanding your rights." Sharon's stomach churned. "I don't deserve this. I've never harmed Andre. If he wanted out, all he had to do was ask." She couldn't stop the sobs that came. Vernita gently nudged the box of tissues closer. She waited until Sharon regained her composure. "I know it's painful," she said softly, "but this actually works to our advantage. We can use his tactics against him." Sharon, still confused, asked, "What do you mean?" "Give him the emotional reaction he wants, but on your terms," Vernita explained. "Take this week to process the betrayal, but at the family reunion, accept the divorce papers quickly. The moment you're served, call me. We'll file our countermotion first thing Monday. By the afternoon, your husband will be locked into a divorce he'll regret." Vernita glanced at her notes. "You have a year to claim the lottery. If you wait 35 more days, Mrs. Crawford, and trust me and Simone Walker, we'll make sure you and your grandchildren are legally free of this man forever." Sharon's mind raced. Could she pretend to be clueless for 35 days? Was she strong enough to let Andre and his family think she was that naive? As Sharon was still deciding, the door to Vernita's office burst open and a huge Bernese mountain dog bounded in, smothering Vernita in wet kisses and shedding fur all over her suit. Vernita squealed with delight, hugging and kissing the dog, unbothered by the chaos. Sharon watched, smiling at the sight of the professional woman completely undone by the dog's affection. It struck her deeply. The joy and warmth Vernita shared with her dog was something Sharon hadn't felt in years. The past 2 decades had been about work and resilience, but what about fun, joy, and love? Sharon had long been deprived of those moments. She deserved peace, respect, not scorn. I'm sorry, he just came from the groomers, Vernita laughed, brushing fur off her suit. Is he friendly? Sharon asked, hopeful. Absolutely, Vernita replied. Winston, go say hello to the pretty lady, but don't jump. Winston bounded over to Sharon, nuzzling her arm and rolling over for a belly rub. Sharon's heart swelled with warmth. Dogs, she thought. They were so pure, so free. They took care of people. Sharon's mind wandered to Midas, the little one-eyed dog waiting at the pound. He deserved that care too. Shameless, Vernita chuckled, watching Winston perform. She quickly glanced at her notes. So, Mrs. Crawford, that's my advice. Let's do it, Sharon said, her voice clear and focused. I'll go to that reunion, play my part, and get you the papers, whatever it takes. Vernita nodded, satisfied. Remember, the clock starts ticking when you're served. Make it count, Mrs. Crawford. Sharon corrected softly. I'm not Mrs. Crawford anymore. Please call me Sharon. Sharon it is, Vernita smiled. On Saturday, Sharon stood before her closet with fresh eyes. For the first time in years, she saw possibility in the old fabrics she'd collected. The clothes were still good, still her taste, and though she dreamed of designer shopping, she didn't need anything just yet, especially not for today when she'd surely be bullied by Andre's relatives. She chose the plain green dress Andre had picked out, knowing it was meant to humiliate her. But despite that, she looked good, happy, healthy, like a woman with $1 billion lottery ticket safely locked away in her attorney's vault. Since learning about the divorce, Sharon had worked through so many emotions, from the shock of Andre's betrayal to dramatically resigning from her job to signing adoption papers for the dog she'd rescue after Andre served her at the reunion. It had been a whirlwind of coffee, tears, and more coffee. Now she was on the other side of the immediate pain, and she couldn't wait for the day to be over. It had been hard to tone down her excitement. She had to remind herself not to skip around the office or the grocery store. But one thing she couldn't stop herself from doing was going back to the gas station and digging through the trash to find that gift card, the one that started it all. She disinfected it, framed it, and kept it in her car, alongside a suitcase for the hotel. Tonight, she would pick up Midas and take him and her suitcase to the Four Seasons penthouse Vernita's law firm had reserved for her. It was a safe haven where she'd hide until Andre learned about the counter petition for a swift divorce. His need for control would make him dangerous, so Vernita insisted Sharon stay hidden. The Four Seasons penthouse awaited, and Sharon was ready. With her dog, room service, and total peace, it felt like a deliciously silly fantasy. It still didn't seem real, but it was. She'd heard from Vernita that her winning numbers had been confirmed, and after a flurry of paperwork, $736 million sat in escrow. The money would be transferred to her new trust fund as soon as she requested it. Sharon stared at her reflection, the guilt gnawing at her for not telling her children about the lottery ticket. Kenya and James were hers, but they had always sided with their father, making it hard to decide if they deserved to know. She pushed the thought aside, deciding to choose later. Grabbing her keys, she headed to the reunion in her old car, knowing Andre would meet her there. The Juneteenth reunion was at Andre's sister's house, and Sharon knew the menu by heart. The same buffet trays, the same smug relatives gossiping like it was their favorite pastime. Usually she'd tolerate it, rise above the pettiness, but this year she would float above it all. She would let their insults roll off like rain on glass because she had a secret no one could touch. The insults came quickly after she arrived. They criticized her dress, her short afro, her job, even her children's lack of success, but Sharon felt none of it. She was happily in her own orbit, too content with her secret to care. When Kenya showed up late, too distracted by her phone to hug her, and James barely glanced at her, Sharon didn't mind. She wasn't waiting for validation anymore. Instead, she sat with her two daughters-in-law, also outcasts, but for different reasons, and watched her grandkids play. They could exclude her all they wanted. Sharon was something else now, not a ghost, not a wife, not a mother begging to be remembered. She was a woman with a secret that could rewrite her life. Let them keep talking, clinking beer cans and wine glasses, arguing over hearts, pinochle, and dominoes. Let the laughter roll through the backyard, thick with barbecue smoke and family gossip. Sharon sat under the oak tree, checking her watch. Andre was late and she was ready to leave. Playing the dutiful wife was getting old. Then, as if on cue, the energy shifted. Heads turned, Andre strolled in hand with a glowing, very pregnant woman in a flowy coral dress. Gasps rippled, but not from shock, excitement. "Angela," someone called. "You look beautiful, girl." The crowd parted like the Red Sea for Andre's mistress, now public and proud. Sharon didn't flinch at the betrayal. That marriage was already emotionally buried. What stunned her was the reception. Hugs, compliments, laughter. Her sister-in-law of 30 years handed Angela a plate like she'd always belonged. Then the gut punch. Kenya and James, her own children, embraced Angela. "Welcome officially to the family, Angela," Kenya sang, syrupy and smug. "Now that's what a woman should look like. Girl, you beautiful," James added. Sharon kept her face blank while inside she reeled. Her children, once nestled under her heart, raised with love and fairness, had become strangers. She'd never understood why they turned on her. And now this ambush to break her, it didn't work. It couldn't work. Not when she had $700 million after taxes. The irony nearly made her laugh out loud. She slipped to the far edge of the yard, grinning. Andre, that fool, he just handed her everything. Now she had grounds for divorce. Now she could claim the winnings. Now she was free and ready to protect what mattered from his selfish hands. "Sharon," Andre said, finally approaching. She didn't turn, too busy smothering joy with a mask of grief. He mistook it for shame. "How long?" she asked, feigning a tremble. 2 years, he said. 2? Sharon blinked. 2 years. And only now the girl got pregnant. "I had to move on," Andre said smugly. "We never had anything in common. I evolve, you sit around aging. I need a partner who can keep up." Sharon nodded, faking sobs. Andre sighed and tossed a thick envelope at her feet. "Don't fight this. I'm being fair. Push me. I'll take it all." She bent down, hands trembling with victory. Divorce papers filed by him. Her heart raced, but she stayed silent, letting him walk away in triumph. Then, slipping on her dollar store sunglasses, she made her escape, heels crunching over gravel, heading for the gate. The reunion watched in stunned silence. No meltdown, no drama, just Sharon leaving. Maybe they thought she knew she couldn't compete. Once in her car, Sharon screamed with joy. "He filed! $700 million, all hers now." She texted Vernita. "He served me. I'm free." Then she spotted Andre watching from the gate, suspicious. He started toward her, heart pounding. She sped off. On the highway, Vernita called. "Where are you?" "Going home to change. He brought the pregnant girl. You were right. If I'd told him about the Powerball, half would have gone to her baby, not my grandkids." "He served you in front of his mistress?" Vernita asked, her voice darkening. "Yes," Kenya and James hugged her, called her family. "Sharon, I want you to listen carefully. Pull over, destroy your phone. Andre's tracking you." "What?" "He used your phone. Today was designed to push you over the edge. Now toss the phone and head to the hotel. My firm's penthouse is ready. Call me from the room." Sharon nodded, still dazed. She pulled over, but paused. If he found the phone, he'd see the text. She had a better idea. At the shelter, Sharon finally adopted Midas. He wriggled in her arms, one eye shining with joy. In the car, she buckled him in and grinned. "Soon you'll be riding in a Bentley," she said. Midas licked her face, then watched her place the phone behind the back wheel. She backed over it, crunch, and Midas barked in approval. Sharon laughed. Free at last, she looked at him and whispered, "Let's go home." Midas barked again, ready for the ride of his life. The view from the Four Seasons penthouse was pure seduction. Riverlight and skyline bathed in dusk, seen through floor-to-ceiling glass 31 stories up. Sharon stood before it, wrapped in silk, sipping rich African coffee. She'd just woken from a deep sleep after 24 hours of betrayal, escape, and strategy. Since arriving with Midas, Vernita and Simone had worked nonstop over the phone, revising the counter-settlement and updating Sharon's trust documents to block Andre's new heir from sharing her grandkids' inheritance. His divorce papers were standard, but flaunting his pregnant mistress revealed his obsession with needing Sharon to break. "Thankfully, you turned off your phone before driving to our first meeting," Verita's voice echoed from the speaker box on the hotel phone. "I always do during meetings," Sharon shrugged. "It's just a habit of professional courtesy." "Well, that habit just saved you $500 million, Vernita replied. "With no logs or locations for my office, he has no idea I am representing you." "Andre blocked me from seeing a log of his texts and phone calls years ago. I checked and my phone has the same block, so we're good." "Excellent. The pregnant girl was a red flag, Sharon," Vernita warned. "A normal man would hide that, but Andre wants to see you unravel. It's a small town, so he wants to know who you run to. That's why I can't show up in court records. With my reputation, he'll know you're organized and panic and pull the papers." "Can he do that?" Sharon asked. "He can, right up until we file a counter petition, so we'll list Irene as your attorney instead. She's licensed and she consults for us occasionally. He'll think your church friend's doing you a favor in a moment of outrage." Sharon's eyes lit up. "That's pure genius." "Divorce is psychological," Vernita said. "Andre wants control, but I won't let him near your money or you." Sharon nodded, tossing a toy for Midas, who barked and bounded across the suite like a puppy reborn. "What do I need to do now?" "Nothing. Just stay put and play with your dog. I'll call once the filing's in the system." "I can do that," Sharon said, smiling as she hung up. She turned to Midas, who looked 100 years younger with a fresh groom and good food. "Let's take the boy for a walk, shall we?" she said, and Midas barked and barked again. 2 days later, Sharon lay cocooned in down pillows, wrapped in cashmere, her limbs draped like a queen in quiet exile. The city blazed gold beyond the penthouse windows, the sun melting into steel and glass. Beside her, Midas snored softly, his one good eye fluttering in a dream. A tray of truffle fries sat half-eaten. Her phone buzzed. "He's unraveling," Irene said, barely bothering with hello. "Your husband is a mess." Sharon's laugh was low, smooth. "Already? He showed up at church looking like he lost his last will to live, said you needed supervision, then came sniffing around me trying to see if I knew where you were. And did you tell him I was 31 floors above, wearing silk and eating French fries?" "Please, my husband blocked him before he could get close. But girl, it gets better. He called the deacon's wife for your number, accused her of lying. Then he showed up at your old job. Swore they were hiding you in the break room." Sharon sat up. "He's unwell." "Oh, and get this. He filed for a wellness check, like you're the one losing it, not him dragging a child bride through your family reunion like a trophy from war." Sharon exhaled, amused. "He got what he wanted, and now he's flailing." "Yep. Word around town is you had a secret lover the whole time and skipped town with him." Sharon laughed. "Only lover I've got has one eye and barks at pigeons." "Well, keep doing what you're doing. You sound better than I've heard you in years." Sharon smiled faintly. "Ask me again in 33 days. They hung up. Sharon tossed a chew toy across the room, watching Midas chase it with new life. Days later, Irene called again and reported that Andre had listed the house. Sharon's clothes were tossed into a public dumpster. Kenya helped. It was all for show. "He's desperate to flush you out," Vernita said. "But he's blind. You've vanished, and it's driving him mad." "Will it ever end?" Sharon asked, her voice tight. "Yes, hold the line." Then came the avalanche. Sharon's daughter-in-law called. She was divorcing Kenya, who'd been cheating, and worse, she'd discovered that Kenya emptied the kids' college fund. Sharon's heart cracked, but she promised there'd always be money for the children. And James, his marriage on the rocks too, not infidelity, but cruelty, mirroring his father. His wife gave him an ultimatum, therapy or goodbye. To Sharon's surprise, James chose therapy. He was 2 weeks in and, for the first time, finally admitted it. I think I have issues with Dad. Sharon sat by the window that night, the skyline lit like a promise. Midas curled by her side, and though the damage still echoed, she saw the slow, steady clearing ahead. A new life, still quiet, still burning. Weeks later, the penthouse suite was a joyful madhouse. 7 rescue dogs now filled Sharon's suite, each with some special need: wheels for legs, pills and peanut butter, tiny heart murmurs. Midas reigned supreme, despite being outmatched in size. Sharon didn't mind the chaos. The squeak of toys, the thump of paws, hip-hop on the radio. It was a symphony. She no longer dreamed of traveling. Her world was right here. Aside from the births of her children, Sharon had never felt more alive. Time slipped by. Another 4 weeks vanished. One morning, Sharon sat at the penthouse desk, sipping espresso, reading Irene's thank you card for the anonymous church roof donation. Sharon hadn't claimed the lottery winnings yet. The gift had gone through Vernita's firm. Same with the modest new house for Kenya's wife and kids. Sharon smiled and turned to blueprints spread across the desk, early drafts for a pet sanctuary. Her phone rang, a conference call, Vernita and Simone. Everything okay? Sharon asked. Simone giggled. Did you check your email? No. Why? What's going on? It's been 35 days, Vernita said, voice glowing. You, Mrs. Sharon Crawford, are officially single. Divorce finalized this morning. I sent you the confirmation. And I contacted the lottery commission, Simone added. Your lump sum is being released today. Check your email. Your trust account is live. You're officially wealthy, Sharon. Sharon opened the email. Pages of legal documents, trusts, deposits, balances. She went silent. You okay? Vernita asked gently. After a long beat, Sharon spoke, her voice breaking. You both saved my life. I was numb when we met. I didn't even think the money was real, but you made it real, and you made me feel safe again. You deserved every dollar, Simone said. You deserve happiness. Sharon wept. All 7 dogs crowded her, nudging and licking. Send your invoices, she said through tears. I want to pay you. You've done so much. We'll settle up next week, Vernita said. Tonight, tequila, put on some underwear. We're coming over. Sharon laughed, wiping her face. I'll wear underwear, but the dogs are still going commando. You're bringing Winston, right? Of course, he loves tequila, Vernita deadpanned. They all burst out laughing. After the call, Sharon opened her secure laptop. Her new trust account blinked with a figure north of 700 million. Unreal. Eventually, she'd talk to Simone about offshore accounts, investments, and building the sanctuary. But not tonight. Tonight, she'd get drunk with her new friends. She'd never had girlfriends before, never made time. But now, she would. Sharon vowed to collect people like she did dogs, to belong, to connect. After all, she was no longer his wife. She was finally her own person. Under bright studio lights, the smiling host welcomed her. You ready? Asked the producer. Sharon nodded. She'd never been more ready. The segment opened live. Tonight, the host said, we speak with the woman behind one of the biggest lottery wins in state history, who waited months to step into the spotlight. The camera turned to Sharon. I needed time, she said calmly, to think, to breathe, to remember who I was before everyone else decided for me. She didn't mention Andre, the divorce, or her children. She didn't have to. I spent most of my life as someone's wife, someone's mother, but I forgot to be someone for myself. This money isn't a reward. It's a beginning. I'm not here to show off. I'm here to claim space. By the time the credits rolled, Sharon was trending. The quiet billionaire. The graceful escape. Woman leaves family, finds freedom. Then the emails came. Andre, we should talk. Maybe it's not too late. Kenya. Mom, I didn't know you were hurting. Can we meet? James, I was wrong. I'm still processing why. We'll be in touch once I repair my marriage, my life. But just know I love you and I really am sorry. Email after email, each one more desperate. Kenya's grew more desperate. Her wife had filed for divorce. Eventually, Sharon agreed to meet. Tomorrow, Ritz-Carlton, Capital City, 1 o'clock, come alone. Kenya replied, "Thank you, Mommy. I'll be there." Sharon set down her phone. She knew Kenya wouldn't come alone. Andre would be there for sure. Maybe James would join them. It was a setup for sure. A last-ditch effort to win her back or wear her down. For money, always for money. But Sharon was ready for this final moment. She had thoughts and she was going to share them. But Sharon never got to share those thoughts because Kenya never showed. No one did. She sat for an hour before realizing she'd been stood up, so she went home, back to the penthouse, to the tiny fur family she'd created for herself. A few days later, Sharon was walking the perimeter of a 10-acre property just outside of town. Her head was bent towards the real estate developer as they looked over the architect's designs. It had once been a small farm, fenced pasture, weathered barn, even an old feed shed that could be transformed into a vet station. She saw potential in every square foot. With Simone's help, the trust had already made an offer. If all went well, by next month this would be Sharon's new home, a modest 4-bedroom house overlooking the lake, and in the back, the future site of the Safe Spot, a no-kill animal sanctuary for senior and special needs dogs. She was deep in thought, picturing dog runs and play zones, when she heard the screech of tires. She turned in time to hear Sharon and to see Andre stepping out of a used car, not his usual Mercedes. He looked older, his clothes weren't as pressed, his eyes were wild. "You think you're clever?" he said, marching toward her. "You think you can steal from me?" The realtor looked concerned, but Sharon wasn't scared. She asked for privacy, and when the realtor moved away, Sharon gave Andre a bored look. "What do you want, Andre?" "I want what's mine, $300 million. You filed for divorce, remember?" she said calmly. "You said you were done, and you wanted future assets separated. You knew about the money and hid it. That's fraud. You started a whole new family and stole my money to pay for it. That's fraud, too." "You manipulated the timing," Andre screamed. Sharon sighed, bored. "The timing was all yours. You wanted to be free of me, Andre. You wanted to drive me away as fast as you could. Don't be mad because you got exactly what you wanted." "I don't think you understand, Sharon. You're going to give me my money or else." Andre took a threatening step towards her. Suddenly, 2 very large, very fit, and very armed security guards appeared. "Everything okay, Mrs. Crawford?" Andre stepped back, surprised. Sharon grinned. "You see, Andre, when you go public with that kind of money, you have to pay for protection. You never know who might come around making threats." Andre stepped back further. Sharon glanced at the young men. "Everything's fine. My ex-husband was just leaving." Andre glared and rushed to his car. "This isn't over," he screamed, and Sharon shook her head as he drove away. 2 weeks later, Andre served Sharon with a civil suit. He sent the papers through Irene saying he was suing Sharon for financial fraud, alleging that she had deliberately concealed her lottery winnings during the divorce proceedings. The court date arrived quickly. Andre arrived in a custom suit, flanked by a well-known litigation attorney from the city. Sharon walked in with quiet poise, wearing a tailored navy pantsuit. Her expression was calm, her eyes unwavering. Expecting Irene to arrive with her, Andre was shocked to see Super Agent Vernita Ashford walk in, sharp and composed in her signature gray. She sat next to Sharon and flipped through a stack of legal briefs like she already knew how it would end. The judge entered. The room fell silent. Andre's attorney went first, launching into a performance about betrayal, intent, and hidden windfalls. "Your Honor, my client, Mr. Crawford, was misled. The defendant purchased a Powerball ticket during the marriage, and though they were in the process of divorce, the financial entanglements had not yet been severed. She withheld this life-changing information, allowing him to finalize a divorce under false pretenses." The judge raised an eyebrow. Was he aware he filed for separation of future assets? A rustle of papers. "Yes, but..." Noted. "Miss Ashford?" Vernita stood, every movement crisp and deliberate. Your Honor, let's be clear, this is not a case of fraud. This is a case of regret. She held up the signed divorce petition. Mr. Crawford filed for divorce and, in his own handwriting, requested the separation of all future assets. He filed 3 weeks before Ms. Crawford's winning ticket was even drawn. The ticket was purchased with a $2 gas station gift card, not marital funds, and the winnings were claimed through a legal trust after the divorce was finalized. She turned and looked directly at Andre. This is not fraud. This is foresight. And quite frankly, this is what happens when a man trades in his marriage for ego and loses. The courtroom murmured. The judge cleared her throat and adjusted her glasses. I've reviewed all the filings. The timeline is clean. The money was not part of the marital estate. Mr. Crawford's own petition ensured it never would be. Andre's attorney objected weakly, but the judge was already speaking. Motion to dismiss is granted. This court finds no evidence of fraud or wrongdoing. Case closed. Andre looked stunned. His lips parted, but no words came out. Sharon stood slowly, calmly. She didn't glance his way. Outside the courtroom, Vernita smiled. Want me to have his attorney served with your no-contact paperwork? No need, Sharon said, tucking her sunglasses into her bag. He'll get the message. Then she walked to her car, the sun on her face, and headed straight for the animal sanctuary property, her property, where a new life and a new dog were waiting. The courthouse steps felt steeper on the way down, but Sharon's body was light, freed by the judge's dismissal and the clean finality of Andre's failed lawsuit. She was halfway to the car, clutching her tote and scanning the crowd for Winston's dog walker, when she heard the voice. Mom? Sharon turned slowly. Kenya stood at the base of the courthouse, her designer heels wobbling slightly on the concrete, her face fragile in a way Sharon hadn't seen since she was a little girl. Can we talk? Kenya asked. Please? Sharon paused, studying her daughter. There was no fire in Kenya's eyes today, no rehearsed speech about loyalty to her father or the imagined ways Sharon had held everyone back, just longing. I'm listening, Sharon said. Kenya swallowed hard. I was wrong about everything. I didn't know about the money, and it shouldn't matter, but it made me see how awful we've been. I miss you. Can we have dinner? Just you and me. Talk. Reset Sharon nodded slowly. One condition, she said. You invite your brother. Kenya agreed. I'll make a reservation. Saturday night, my treat. Saturday came, and Sharon walked into the restaurant with James at her side. He'd grown more thoughtful in recent weeks. Subtle apologies tucked into conversations, more present in the way that mattered. They hadn't spoken about reconciliation, not fully, but tonight he was here. They were 15 minutes early, so they ordered drinks. Kenya didn't show. 30 minutes passed, then 40. James sighed, checking his phone. Still no word. Sharon shook her head. She made the plan. She should have kept it. But instead of leaving, they ordered appetizers, and by the time their entrees arrived, the distance between them, mother and son, had softened. You were right, James said quietly. I followed Dad's lead because it was easier. We got used to letting you carry everything and calling it love. That wasn't fair. Sharon reached across the table, gently touched his hand. You still have time to make it right. Just don't disappear again. I won't. It wasn't dramatic. It wasn't even emotional, just honest, the kind of repair that settles in small, quiet ways. 3 days later, a text from Kenya popped up on Sharon's phone. Kenya, I'm so sorry for missing dinner. Please give me another chance. Can we try again? Just you and me? Sharon stared at the message a long time. Part of her wanted to ignore it, but the other part, the part still soft despite everything, Sharon typed back, Thursday, 7 o'clock, same place. Don't be late. She hit send, then set the phone face down. This time she wouldn't wait long. Sharon stood in front of the floor-length mirror in her master suite of her new home, smoothing the front of her navy blouse. Her earrings, small, understated pearls, caught the warm glow of the sconces. Midas was asleep in a velvet dog bed behind her, one of 7 dogs now living like royalty in the cottage-style house. The others lounged on plush rugs and couches, a soft chorus of breathing and tail thumps filling the room like a heartbeat. Dinner with Kenya. She adjusted her necklace, stalling. Was this really a good idea? Kenya had betrayed her constantly and stood her up once. Should she really trust her daughter again? She sighed and reached for her clutch, then froze. The television, still on mute, flickered with breaking tabloid coverage. Sharon turned up the volume just in time to hear the host's syrupy voice announce, "Scandal rocks the lottery world. Sharon Crawford's ex-husband speaks out." There he was, Andre, sitting on a red velvet chair next to his very young, very pregnant mistress, wearing designer sunglasses indoors and oozing false humility. "She was abusive," Andre said solemnly, controlling, cold. "I stayed for the kids. She owes me alimony. It's the least she can do." Sharon's mouth parted in disbelief. Then Kenya appeared, wearing a conservative blazer and sad eyes. She leaned close to her father and nodded solemnly. "It was difficult growing up with her," Kenya said. "She was harsh, not nurturing, but I'm praying she'll change. For the sake of the family." Sharon blinked. Kenya looked straight into the camera and added, "I just wish she'd stop ignoring her grandchildren." That did it. Sharon had bought those children a home, paid the mortgage, covered therapy for Kenya's soon-to-be ex-wife. She had done it all quietly, behind the scenes, with grace. And this was her thanks? Her heart didn't break. It hardened. Sharon turned off the TV, pulled off the pearl earrings, and calmly slipped into walking shoes. One by one, she called to her dogs, walked them past the rooms under construction in their new house and out into the courtyard. The dogs burst out the door, running in all directions, but still in step with Sharon as they walked their new 10 acres. Midas led the charge, his tail wagging as the dogs explored rocks and trees and grass. Even the ones with wheels for legs could keep up. The fresh air felt good, freeing, and Sharon filled her lungs full, her heart slowly healing with the parade of wobbling hips and cloudy eyes and joyful yips. Outside, the sky was turning lavender. They walked the property, surveyed the renovations for the pending sanctuary. When they reached the Riverwalk, Sharon's phone buzzed and buzzed again. Kenya. "Mom? I'm here at the restaurant. Where are you?" 15 minutes passed and another buzz. Kenya. "Please don't do this again. We can fix it." 30 minutes and Kenya again. "Don't ignore me. You're being cruel. What kind of a mother are you?" Sharon stared at the phone. It was easy to block Kenya and move on. The encryption would kick in and her daughter would be gone forever. But Sharon couldn't help recalling the delicious sensation of driving over her last phone in the parking lot and the exhilarating empowerment of the moment. Craving that again, she walked to the edge of the stone railing, looked out over the peaceful current, and dropped the phone into the river without a word. It vanished with a small splash, no drama, just gone. She exhaled as that delicious freedom washed over her. This was the feeling she decided to keep forever. With that she turned, kept walking. 7 dogs at her side, the wind in her hair, and not one false tether left to drag behind her.